What ho! Trader Yorkie here, once again trying to see if I can get out for Nowt, as we follow another merchant game. This time we're heading to the Riven Lands, or the Riven Realms, and the Desert Trading Kingdoms, as my time is leading a caravan in Vagrus Realms. Vagrus is a game that involves a fair amount of reading if it is to be enjoyed and experienced as intended by the developers. It's also a difficult game with little hand-holding, where success is by no means guaranteed. We'll have to see, won't we? You'll probably lose everything several times before getting the hang of leading your travelling company. Vagrus is a labour of love, created by a tiny team that dared dream big, with the support of an amazing little community. We're extremely grateful to all of those who helped us along the way with constructive criticism. Play intro, send crash reports, send game statistics. I don't really care about those. Hopefully it's stable at this point. Comitatus, plural comitati, an armed travelling company. It usually carries cargo and passengers across the wastelands of the continent. It also gets involved in a variety of jobs ranging from trading to mercenary work. Vagrus, plural vagary, adventurer, plural comitatus.
The Riven Realms, they call it. What a fine poetic name for something as rotten and twisted as our land has become. It was not always so. Long ago, the old empire, the noblest and most enduring society created by humankind, spanned almost the entire continent of Zerine, the cradle of man. But after several millennia of progress and incomparable achievements, inevitably, the empire began to fall into stagnation and decadence.
They usually do.
Desperately holding on to their privileges and resisting change while trying to avert the collapse of the realm, the emperor and his theocracy took to measures that were worthy of true despots in cruelty. Subjugating weaker realms, enslaving whole nations, strip-mining foreign resources, oppressing imperial citizens,
getting in the way of true trade
on several fronts, genocide. Eventually, the gods could no longer tolerate such horrors wrought in their name. Foretold by an abundance of divine omens, they descended upon the empire to right its wrongs. Thus, in a chain of dreadful events that became known as the Calamity, they annihilated the empire in a matter of days.
Well, it certainly looked like that goddess was rather excited about the act.
Finally saw what they had done in their anger and confusion. It is said that so much grief and shame filled them that they were broken, and they left this reality, never to return. The continent and its inhabitants seemed dead, but at length survivors began to crawl out of their hiding holes and faced a land that no longer welcomed them. Arcane anomalies, the fallout of the Calamity, now riddled the continent, and people realized that they had to share their new home with changed and twisted creatures. Terrible beings entered through the cracks in the tapestry of reality and rose to rule over the natives. In time, these new powers rebuilt the fallen empire in their own image, and the Riven Realms, now godless and vengeful, reincarnated from the ashes. The inhabitants of the land, such as I, now eke out a living under the crushing rule of the new empire. The continent itself constantly resists our every attempt at building a cozy home for ourselves. As travel is dangerous, many ventures specialize in transferring cargo and passengers over bleak and deadly leagues of land. Others try to take everything of value from said travelers, or attempt to find buried treasures among the ruins of the old empire. The leaders of the endeavors are, some say, the bravest men and women of the Riven Realms. Such a leader is called a Vagrus.
Right, a new game here. Wasteland mode. Nothing beside remains around the decay of that Colossus wreck. Boundless, bare, alone, and level sands stretch far away from Ozymandias, Percy Bysshe Shelley. Actually, one of my favourite poems, and I don't think that's the best part. It's the fact that all that's there is a wreck.
Ah, yes. A Vagrus. What a profession. Daring and savvy, always watching the horizon, always looking for an opportunity, and of course, for what is best for his comitatus, eh? And you are a Vagrus too, are you not? Many of your kind have I seen in my long life as a vagabond. Care to listen to a story about your exquisite occupation, good master? It is a tale of woe and terror, but it is also a tale that is true, as I have seen it with mine own eyes.
As I was saying, the best part is that all that's left is basically broken feet of a statue. Everything else is sand around, even though most of the statue is gone. And a sign that says, I am Ozymandias, King of Kings. Gaze upon my mighty works, dread. Yes, originally a massive statue in a kingdom that would have caused dread for those who faced its might. Now completely gone, and all that's left, something to cause a different kind of dread. The mightiest of empires fall to nothing. Now, we don't need any ghost stories, old-timer. Let's get on with our own tale.
Master, fair enough. You don't want to hear tales of trusts betrayed?
I'm sure I'll see plenty of my own.
It makes sense to me, with you also being a Vagrus and all that. Tell me, have you been long at it? And where do you come from? It is not often that I can talk to one of your kind.
Let's create our Vagrus. Race. The Imperials are an industrious and generally cultured people, tracing their origins back to the ancient humans of Dharma, who migrated south and settled in lands of Atreus. The Empire managed to survive the calamity, albeit at great cost. It remains one of the great powers of the continent of Zeren. At its peak, few, if any, realms could match its prosperity. Knowledge and power though this came at the cost of slavery and the oppression of other nations. Imperials in the Fourth Age are usually proud of such past, though it is sometimes fused with a sense of bitterness. Its business and progress are close to the imperial spirit, and the heritage building a great society still lingers. Imperials are light of skin, often dark of hair, though people of Daromarian tend to be tall and fair-haired. A religious perk, a savvy perk, 30 house Darius points, 30 house Aqua points, and 30 house Venari points. No, I'm going to be a proud slaver. We're free people, more or less. Dacian, a land of vast deserts, arid mountains, and tranquil oases. Tark has long been a problematic yet prosperous province in the Empire. Its people, the Tarkians, are a divided lot. City dwellers typically support imperial rule, having adopted to the profitable symbiosis, while most desert tribes detest what they see as an occupational force. Tarkian culture is exotic to imperial eyes, and its many unique products have permeated the Empire throughout the centuries, but this is not true the other way around. Originating from desert nomads, Tarkians are great at navigating and surviving arid wastelands, and are said to be merchants at heart. Sometimes this means they have a suspicious and unsavoury reputation. Tarkians have dusky skin and dark hair. Persian perk, savvy perk, Tarkian owning equipment. We have some equipment with that one. Less perks, less other things. Actually, same number of perks, different perks, but no reputation. Human Dajmahan. Dajmahan, the land of endless rain, occupies the northeastern peninsula of the continent of Zeren, cut off from most other regions by vast mountains, ranges, and dense jungles. Its people, the Dajmans, are the descendants of ancient Zenrak, having lived mostly in fractured tribal communities since the old empire's fall. Dajmahar was miraculously spared from the calamity, yet magical anomalies and mutants did enter its boundaries afterward. Several centuries ago, a clan of Dajmahan sorcerers rose to rule the land from 3 city-states on the Oasis. The Empire has made several attempts to colonize Dajmahar, but it has proved impossible as of yet. Dajmahans are often athletic and possess incredible stamina, but are considered savages by others. Dark-skinned and dark-haired, made figurines, survival and top. The Kalani people of the East originate from coastal clans who survived the fall of Kimura. Their progressive and wealthy realm joined the Empire in the Golden Age and contributed considerably to the rise of imperial society and culture. The calamity struck and vastly changed the face of the eastern regions, erasing Kalani cities and burning the wonderful forests into formations of glass and crystal. The people survived as 3 separate clans and rejoined the Empire when it re-emerged. Crystal is everywhere in the Sargot Kala, the richest and most important of the 3 regions, so crystal harvesting, crystal growing and crystalmancy has become a major occupation in the region. Kalani are considered good mediators and stoic, strong-willed people, usually dark-haired and fair-skinned with blue or green eyes. Arcane Law perk, strong-minded, crystal gear, and crystal lamp item. Possible. Dwarf. Well, I am a little on the short side, someone would say. The mighty dwarven kingdom of Dwendar Thar was the greatest ally of the Empire before the calamity, and gifted humans most secrets of metal and stone. Dwarven technology was a true marvel, and the line of inventor kings governed the kingdom into a golden age of progress. When the calamity struck, most Dwendar Thar was cursed and destroyed in a conflagration of fire and lava, as the great mountains that were built upon and into erupted. There were several thousand survivors of the cataclysm became wandering people at the same time, covering and hating the technology that they think led to their downfall. Their former merry and progressive nature turned into bitterness, pragmatism, and cynicism. For all intents and purposes, dwarves are a dying race, stocky and sturdy. Dwarves are a hardy folk. Men almost always grow beards. Evaluate perk, soft perk, and dwarven gadgets. I mean, this sounds most likely so far. Half elf. Not all Doranthalas elves took their own lives after the calamity or became embittered. The point of insanity. Some of them wandered out into the world and lived out their remaining years among the mortals who survived. These elves mingled with humans, and their progeny are known as Heraldin. The half-elves, most of them retained the pointed ears. Magnificent sight. That does not sound like me. And light-footedness of their elven parent, as well as the adaptability of their human one. They do not have a culture or realm of their own and typically live their lives on the road or among folk. Most great elves consider them abominations, and most humans think of them as elves, treacherous and furtive. They do not trust them. Half elves are tall and lean, and definitely not me. Definitely not me. So definitely not me at all. Absolutely not. Orc. Having been summoned as roaming souls from the outer realms and given bodies in a ritual unmatched sorcerer's power, orcs were created as the perfect warriors without memories. Weapons of the Empire in their war on the northern continent about 350 years before the present day. However, the orcs soon found out about the deceit of their masters and rebelled against them. Following a brutal war that nearly collapsed the Empire and made the orcs nigh extinct, a tenuous status quo was reached in the end, with the surviving orcs relocated to the swamplands of Darkmoor in the edge of the Empire, living in tribal societies ever since. Orcs have become a thorn in the side of everyone, raiding, marauding, and engaging in piracy ceaselessly. No, this does not sound my kind of people at all. No. Dark Elves. According to legend, the race today called Muraldin were once elves, but their ancestors were cast out and exiled after massacring their own kind during a series of tragic events. Shunned and stripped of their immortality, this progenitor clan sought refuge underground and found solace in the perpetual darkness of the embrace of the demonic worship. They hate light and the sun that burned their eyes and revealed them for what they truly were. In the next several thousand years, they conquered the deep places, built their underground great cities, and became a power to be reckoned with. After the calamity, many of them relocated below Zerin, the northern realms, as it seemed to be both a new frontier and a place that became more hospitable to their needs. Loosely allied with the Empire, many Dark Elves are known to worship demons, among whom Bal-Ur-Kal is chief. Dark Elves look like elves, but are shorter, with dark grey skin and pale blue eyes. Their hair is white, grey, or silver. Well, that's certainly true. I think that's second after the dwarf, but not quite the same. And Demonkind. Demonkin is a general name for many beings that have demonic blood in their veins, but it is more specifically used for those who have demonic ancestry and their grandparents or further back. The heritage manifests as an aura of uneasiness that surrounds the demonkin, as well as in physical and sometimes sorcerer's traits born by the person. Each type of demon produces a set of traits in its demonkin typical to its own form and abilities. Demonkin came to be fairly common on the continent after the calamity, as the cataclysm broke their barriers between Outer Realms and Zerin, allowing denizens of the Abyss to enter and thrive in the Riven Realms and to mingle with its mortal inhabitants. Demonkin do not have any culture or realm of their own, but live among other races, most frequently humans. Demonkin look fairly human, but retain some physical aspects of the Outer Realms. No, we're going with a dwarf. A dwarf. Most definitely. Now, background. You serve in the military. Adventurer. Used to travel a lot and sought adventure. Artisan. Crafting goods. Criminal loaders. Your past involved criminal activities. You have connections to the Loaders Guild. Your past involved criminal activities and you have connections to the Carpenters Guild. Now, these are unavailable for this race. So, used to be a manual worker or slave, professional slave catcher or trader. You studied a great many subjects and are considered wise. Some have said so. Some have said that there's a close line between wisdom and folly, and that usually I'm on the wrong side. We'll go with that. Trader, mercenary. Well, of course, I'm Trader Yorkie. That doesn't even need reading. I'm a travelling merchant and nomadic trader interested in transporting goods, news, and people to the faraway reaches of the Empire. Ambition. Wealth. Yes. Your goal is to... Oh, I could go with free play. Yes, we'll go with free play. The end of the adventure will be when we decide. And perks. Right. Now then. The ship. You can use resourcefulness to turn march points into movement points on a campaign map. Possible. Fire. No. Raising crew morale, yes. Profession. We have a selection at the moment. We should be trading. We've got to evaluate at 2, that's good. Education. Vision. Prismatic. I have no idea how that will work out in the game, but that sounds appropriate. Perks. I'm Trader Yorkie, so Yorkie it is.
Curious, curious. I am humbled to have made your acquaintance, good master. I am sure that many great adventures await you on your journeys. It was an honor talking to you, good master, but these old bones are aching, and I must rest now. Oh, yes. Perhaps we will talk in the morning. Perhaps we will. May the gods guard your sleep.
Sleep slowly but steadily begins to overwhelm you. It is the late hour. Exhausted journey on the mesmerizing voice of the old man. You faintly recall stumbling to your tent and crawling inside the darkness. Morning creeps up quietly on the arid wasteland. You wake up and step out of your tent and into the crisp air, yawning, stretching, and blinking in the orange light of the rising sun. The fiery orb's warm rays are welcome, in stark contrast to how you all feel in a few hours. Your crew, groggy, still after the early start, gambles around camp, busy with their chores. Some of them are still huddled around their dying fires. You look out at the horizons to the north and find it empty against the morning haze. Yet you know that beyond that jagged line, the way station of Karnak awaits. A short stop on your way to proper city. Less than a week of trudging through the plains, and you reach Torzag's shelter. You hope to rest there and find much needed work. In fact, this was the reason you took the Comitatus north to Terra Supra, the lands beyond. New opportunities. The previous Vagrus of the travelling company perished several weeks ago, and even though you worked for her only for a few months, are indeed quite new to this wandering business, the crew elected you to take her place because she trusted your abilities. Cool. Morning, Vagrus. One of your guards walks up to you and draws you out of your reverie. That old geezer you talked to last night is about to leave and wants to say goodbye before he does. You nod and head to the campfire, and the old storyteller in the process of packing his meager equipment. Soon, let's have a word with him. You clear your throat discreetly. Thank you for coming, good master, the old man says, still fiddling with his sling bag. I will not go to Tolzag's shelter with you. My path leads elsewhere. I'm grateful for you to you for letting me travel with your comitatus. Ah, yes. I hope I've earned my keep. Because he had no coin or anything of any value when he came across him in the middle of nowhere 3 days ago, you allowed the man to travel with you and eat from your stores in exchange for entertaining your crew with stories along the way. True enough, no hour has passed since, without a tale being recited by the strange fellow. He even made an effort to entertain you while sitting at the campfire last night. Be that as it may, you allowed him to tag along as an act of kindness. The old man turns to you and smiles innocently. I may be able to repay you more properly by giving you some advice, aye? Don't mind me saying, good master, you are only starting your venture as a Vagrus, and perhaps you could use wisdom. Go ahead. Alright, first off, there are a lot of rumours going around in the city, as great as Grim Torzag. But even in smaller settlements too. Listen to these, for there's often truth in such talk, and gossip can guide you to business, valuables, or interesting places. Often, fresh news is the most valuable commodity you can possess, especially until you are a sizable cargo hold to haul large amounts of goods. Wasteland. If I were you, I'd find some work as soon as possible, preferably something your crew can manage without much difficulty. Perhaps from one of them trading houses. You could also find passengers who are willing to pay for the security of your comitatus. Yes, most every Mancio has folk looking travelling companions. Mancio is great inns in towns or cities built to house comitati and other groups of travellers. Often circular, with a spacious plaza in the middle and stables all around it. To house all kinds of beasts of burden. And the circle is jammed with service buildings such as taverns, bawdy houses, gambling dens, and rooms for rent. Town shows can be quite varied depending on who runs them. but most of them have all the basic services required by travellers. Commerce often converges in these settlements or establishments, but they are far from a marketplace. Usually supplies and slaves can be acquired there, as well as beasts of burden. Also, people who have news and rumours gather in the halls of mansions. So whoever wants to learn of other lands, go there. The old man scratched his scraggly beard thoughtfully. Before setting out, it is best to decide what your destination will be, and prepare accordingly. Wandering around aimlessly in the wasteland is a sure way to get killed or starve. Good master, yet one's chances are better when the burden can be shared with trusted companions. I'd start looking for such folk as soon as I'm in the big city. There's a man I know in Tozag, now that I think about it, who could help you with such matters and more. I'm listening. The chap is called Braxius. Strong fellow, really. Not only because of his peculiar nature. We'll see. He runs a shop. Ah, yes. He'll buy any trinket off you. Do not need any longer. May sell you something useful too. Who knows? I'm just remembering now. He once sold a Gavranian wood talisman to an orc mercenary who. The old man stops abruptly when he notices the expression on your face. He smiles apologetically. Where was I, good master? Ask him where you can find this man called Braxius. Oh, aye, Braxius' shop. Just east of the Calrish Market, a small street that has a dark stone statue, Mercatus, a fountain. Best of luck. Seraphons be with you, good master. I better go. Thank you. Thank you very much. You've been most helpful. You watch the old man as he walks away into the wasteland. It is time to set out. Tozag's shelter is waiting. Before that, it would behoove you to visit Kernak Wood Station. Only about a day's travel to the north. You could obtain much needed supplies and news there. Maybe even find work, who knows. Right. And we will continue next time with our trip to the way station. For now, if I can find where to save. For now, I've been Trader Yorkie, you've been fantastic, and this has been Vagrus. Now I need to find a way to save. Very well.